We didn't kill anything, not even a goblin. And now we're live on the Egg Pod. Welcome everybody. I see we have a whole bunch of people in chat already. Bigger Clausen, I see you. Kimstar84, I see you. Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a fun show. We have with us tonight the head of a judge named Findlay. Over there.
Hello.
Although technically, Francois and I decided that we programmed AI and that's what we came up with. We asked it a whole bunch of questions and this is what AI came up with over here. Down the bottom there we have Francois van Heerden, who was integral in creating what we are calling the EGG Gauteng Modern League. So it's very cool to have both of you here tonight. But before we jump into anything else, they lie, I was killed on Wednesday. Yes, but you're not a goblin. You're the bigger Clausen. Your daughter is the goblin under the table. Let's get our facts correct. But let's do the things. We have to shout out to our patrons, who are the Eggies Knees. We have Uncommon Eggies, at the Jolly Orange Bunny, Ricardo Leone, and Christoph Swartz. Our rare Eggies are Stefan Engelbrecht, Robert Wild, Philip Thompson, Kamikaze Badger, Ivan Callett Crockett, Clinton Riddell. Our mythic Eggies are Shadow Panther, Legendary Lily, Niels Klaassen, Kahuna Koala, Clayton Bacher, and Ansel. And one of our patrons, who are just the most amazingly cool people, has put something really cool up for tonight. Because not only are we going to be talking about modern, we're also going to talk a little bit about Pauper. And one of our patrons has put up 2 tickets to the Pauper Triad event on the 3rd of June at the Medieval Fair to raffle out tonight to someone who would like to come and join us at that event and have some fun in the Pauper Triad, which is done through Easy Gaming Group, Sad Robot, and Top Deck. So stick around for that. But in the meantime, let's go back live. Because now, what we're going to talk about very quickly is, first of all, it's 5 days to go, people. You all who are watching and you haven't bought your tickets yet, 5 days to go. 29th is Saturday. We kick off the Gauteng Modern League at Dragontown this Saturday, the 29th. Just to make it very clear for everybody, we are running Comp REL, which is what we are going to be talking about tonight as well. That's why we brought the head of Findlay in to come and discuss things with us. The other thing I want to mention to everybody is deck lists are required, but they are closed deck lists. No one else is going to see them. Just go to the judges. It's got to be there for should there be a deck check or whatever the case may be. It's part of the rules. So please make sure that happens. We will be sending out an email on Wednesday to everyone who's bought a ticket, giving you all the last details that you might need for the day on the 29th. If anybody joins after that, we'll send you the email as and when those tickets are sold. So I'm speaking in Morse code. I'm confused.
Well, I mean, maybe this is a good start to maybe tell people a little about what REL is, because
Yes.
I think for a lot of people, they have absolutely no idea what this is.
Yeah, no, for sure. So let's do that. So Findlay, let's just quickly give people a breakdown as to when we say these events are being run at Comp REL, what does that actually mean?
Sure. So first thing to understand is what the REL means. And REL stands for Rules Enforcement Level. So typically in South Africa, you will see things run at casual REL, which is going to be just you get together a couple of friends, typically fewer than 8, and you'll just play some Magic and have a bit of fun. The idea there is it's just very relaxed and it's just yourself and some friends. The next level up is what's known as regular REL, and that's what you'll see at F&M and that type of event. And there is a little bit stricter in how things are going to be managed and run. But again, the focus is always going to be on fun there. Now, what we're running this event at is competitive REL, as you mentioned. So here, typically competitive REL is used when you have higher stakes prize support, which the support for this event looks really incredible, and it's very appropriate to be running here. At competitive REL, there are a few additional things that land up changing. The first thing is, because it's got higher stakes, you want to make sure that everything runs smoothly, people don't do things and find out they've made an accident with messing up an interaction, that type of thing. So first of all, you want to make sure that, for example, the deck lists are there so that you're going to check everybody's deck is as it is submitted for game ones every time. To be fair, I do pick up cards every now and then. It does happen.
I saw that comment.
Particularly when people drop their opponent's cards when shuffling their opponent's deck. It does happen.
What card? What card? I didn't drop my opponent's card. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you know, you drop their deck into your deck box and take it home. It's a bit of an issue, but
Could be a
no,
problem.
I'm only kidding there. But so the main thing to understand is competitive rules enforcement level changes a couple of things of how you go about playing. So the first key aspect is you're wanting to test not only whether you're playing your cards correctly, but there's another additional layer of strategy that's involved. So that involves understanding and understanding when things trigger, what triggers, and that is on you to remember. There's certain things which both players need to remember, which are turn-based actions and that type of thing. So picking up your saga to another chapter, both players must remember that. It's up to the player who ticked it up to actually remember that ticking it up does something. But ultimately, it comes down to something known as information. So you have what's known as derived information, and this is the number of objects present in a game zone that is not considered free information. So free information is stuff that both players have easy access to, and it's sort of details of the current game state, the game score, that type of thing. But other aspects such as the characteristics of an object. So does your creature, is it when it's attacking, was it pumped by an exalted trigger? That type of thing it's part of knowing how to play the game and processing the game state in front of you. And that is on the individual players to be able to do. All these sorts of things at regular, just as a comparison, it's not like you aren't doing them at regular. It's just that everything that is considered derived information that's competitive is considered free information that both players have, and both players should be expected to calculate things. At competitive level, you're not under any obligation to calculate things for your opponent. So when they say, I attack with all my creatures, and you ask, how much damage are you attacking for? They are more than welcome to say, you tell me. It's the archetypal maths is for blockers, 100%.
Okay, cool. I mean, is that kind of the long and the short of it, or is there more to it?
There is a bit more. That is the long and short of how you should be approaching the different competitive compared to regular. So, for example, if you're at F&M and your opponent misses their trigger, you'll want to remind them to remember it because you're there to have fun.
Sure.
At competitive, if your opponent misses their life gain trigger, you know what? That's on them. They should have remembered they're playing the deck. They should know how to play it.
Sure.
It's important, however, to a good point has just been brought up in the chat. Take an extra set of new sleeves. So we do also look for marked cards and that type of thing, if it's identifiable.
Okay.
And it's all just two different things to make sure the integrity of the game is maintained. The thing that's quite pertinent to also know is the difference in how mistakes are handled. So when you accidentally draw too many cards and put them in your hand, say you cast a divination and draw 3 instead of 2, and you put those cards into your hand, at regular, well, you'll take that, you'll call the judge, and the judge will come over and go, well, I see you've done this by accident, we'll take a random card and put it back on top of your library. Whereas at competitive, because it's higher stakes, the opportunities for abuse are much higher. So the penalties land up being much higher too.
Sure.
In a nutshell, the good way to think of it is at regular REL, you're expected that most people are playing the game and then the focus is on enjoying and having fun with the game.
Sure.
At competitive level, the assumption is people know the rules of the game. Yeah. They know how to do things, and anytime they haven't, there is reason to make sure that things can't be taken advantage of and that type of thing.
What would the Dragon Shield Easter egg sleeves be capable of marking between two-tone? Just something I've noticed. There are the orange fade to purple.
If you can see and identify one or a certain type of card within your deck from the sleeved side, the opaque side, then it would be marked.
Okay, I see another question from Badger there. Do you see that one, Findlay?
I do. So when you triggered abilities are quite a nuanced aspect, and you've got a benefit trigger which you can call it beneficial, but normally you just describe it as you'll have a trigger and then you'll have detrimental trigger as a subclass, and all other things fall under what would just be a miss trigger. So the idea is if you miss a trigger, there is no warning in any shape or form. But if that trigger happens to be a detrimental trigger, so for example, a packed trigger, then you'll get a warning. And it's like with baseball, 3 strikes and it gets upgraded.
So just
So-
Badger's asking because he's coming to play his first paper event in about 6 million years at this particular event. So he's got to brush up on his rules.
So at the crux of it, if you miss something that was going to be good for you because, I mean, you're a bit new to the deck or it's just getting into the swing of things, you won't get any penalties for missing things that would be beneficial for you.
Okay.
But you will get a penalty if you miss things that would be detrimental. For example, if you don't pay something, you lose the game is generally considered quite detrimental. So if you miss that, that would be something to be aware of. Typically, though, your opponent tends to remember that better than you do.
Bigger Clausen's just trying to clarify his question on the card sleeves. I think the sleeves he's talking about are those ones that I've actually got a set with the little dragon Easter egg, and the border of the card fades from orange to purple across the sleeve itself. And so I think what he's saying is that if you shuffle incorrectly, and you're drawing cards off the top of your deck, I don't know if that's a thing that you would do intentionally or if it was a mistake, but you would definitely notice that the cards were a different way around because of the coloring of the sleeve.
So there's a couple of things with Dragon Shield. So their batches tend to differ even between black and purple, and even all their matte sleeves. So if you have, let's say, red mats from one batch and another, they won't necessarily match. So I think especially for this, you should be certain that you're using sleeves from the exact same batch that you got, especially for an event of this level, because there are some slight differences even on matte sleeves without any art where you can see a difference. So it's really important to stick to just one batch.
Cool. Hi, Lily. Welcome.
There's actually a pretty important part on that as well. Just bear in mind that if you land up shuffling half your deck in the wrong way round, you shouldn't do it first of all for the sake of your sleeves. But the other aspect is if you look through the deck, if there's a bit of an issue at that point and a judge comes along with a bit of concern, they look through and they find all the sleeves that are rotated one way are lands, all the ones that are rotated the other way are not lands. That is going to be giving you a substantial advantage, and that is going to be a big problem.
That would be a hell of a shuffle.
At the end of the day, though, just remember you need to remember things as much as possible. You can't choose to forget things of your own. That's a problem. Even just because it's now competitive and you're going to get penalized for missing detrimental triggers, you can't just choose to miss things here, there, and everywhere.
Sure. I mean, look. So essentially, what we're saying is that at this level of competition that we're running these events at, as Findlay said, we expect you as the players to know the rules. You've played the game long enough, or you've tried to play the game long enough to know the rules enough to not make these kinds of mistakes, and to know which onuses are on you and which onuses are on your opponent, and et cetera, et cetera. And basically, we're not saying go out there all cutthroat and be an ass about it, but come to play properly. This isn't F&M. We're not here to. There's no taxi backsies. There's no like, oh, can I change the way I tap my mana? No, you can't.
There is actually a small provision for takesy backsies, but it is very, very limited and restricted. So if, for example, you crack your fetch land, you go searching through your library, and you go, I'll fetch a blood crypt, you pull on the table, I'll fetch a blood crypt, no wait. If there's no information exchanged, there's no pause, no information exchanged, then there is no issue in changing it. Now, bear in mind that lack of communication can also be information exchange.
Sure.
So long as you're very, very quick with it and catch yourself early, you can actually have a little bit of a take backsies. It's not the opportunity to try see if your opponent's going to respond. The moment you get any information back, that's it. Unfortunately, you've gone too far.
Okay, quick.
But there's a fantastic question there. Yes.
Two questions quickly. So first question from Badger, which I'm sure you've seen, Findlay.
Yes.
Is it a problem if you put a double-faced card back into your deck, the wrong face forward, like those the double-sided
Malaki
cards,
Rebirth,
right? Yeah. Or Malaki Rebirth, one of those, the dual modal cards. And then the other question, just to follow on further down there, Alki says, stay off your devices. Live totals should be captured on paper to record history. So the question I have around there is that I did notice at a couple of other events that I've been to that yes, paper was necessary, but those live tracker pads are being used now as well. Are those so? Let's go. Two questions. Firstly, the dual faced cards. If that accidentally goes back the wrong way in your deck and you shuffle up, is that a problem? And then secondly, what's the official ruling on recording live totals in Comp Oriel?
So let's start with the double face cards. So this one, I've actually had a decent length chat with Brad about as well. And it isn't an issue if you are putting your double face cards in face down into your deck. There is a very big thing that you should be noting, however. If you are thought seized or duressed or something like that, make sure to remind your opponent very clearly that something that may appear as a land actually face up in the hand is a non-land. So if you ever are thought seized, it's a pretty good idea just to switch it around and things like that.
Sure.
Just make sure that your opponent is aware. Otherwise, you might be misleading them.
Okay. So you're not going to get accidentally putting a double face card back the wrong way.
Correct.
All right, and then recording live totals, recording state of play, I suppose. What's the official response to how should you do this?
So what will make you life easy? The official response, as of I think it was 2020, there was a change, and you may keep track of your life total with a digital device, but you can't go digging around looking at any other information on that device.
Sure.
That device has to be visible to both players at all times. So if you're using your companion app, make sure that it's sitting there between you and both of you can always see it. There is just one thing to mention on it. Should there be a mix-up and your opponent has you down at 5 life and you have yourself down at 6 life, remember, it's going to be much easier when a judge comes forward to try investigate and figure out what happened if both of you have some form of tracked life totals where you can see, okay, you lost 2 life here, 1 life here, 1 life here, 4 life here, because then you can backtrack and compare the two. A lot of digital devices don't give you that opportunity.
That little stylus pad is probably then a better option because you're kind of as if you're writing on paper.
Exactly. Typically, if players are keeping track with dice or phone and the other one's keeping track with digital life pad, if there is no way to validate which players' life totals are correct, if the players can't actually piece things together with you assisting and guiding to figure things out, the judge will err on the side of the paper player or the person writing things down.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, I'm using a stylus thing. Don't use dice because Findlay will side with me.
Look, I love dice as much as the next person, but Yeah, I'm too clumsy with them.
Okay, cool. So, just before we come back to any more sort of rulesy questions and things like that, I think let's just clarify for people. Francois, when you and I originally started talking about this league, this event, this whatever we want, I suppose now it's a league. You were very adamant about wanting to make the events comp REL.
Yeah.
Can you just talk us through that? Can you just tell us why is it that you were so keen to make these events competitive?
Yeah, so I think maybe as people sort of hearing Findlay talk about judging now, they're like, oh, a bit like shocked in terms of like the requirement and so on. And for me, what I enjoyed about Magic all these years is the fact that we had a good competitive level and judges were there to facilitate this process for us, where they were able to deal with any bickering or bad sportsmanship, to that we can all align in terms of what the actual ruling is and how we should understand it. And I mean, just from their judge group alone, I think people get a lot of value to see how the rules should be interpreted. So to foster that culture in terms of good gameplay, how to treat your opponent well, how to work with the rules in the correct way or in the more according way to people who are certified to do this, it just makes sense to bring that back and to try and build on that and to kind of restructure and get our competitive events going in. I mean, South Africa for long had a big modern scene pre-COVID and before that when the Pro Tours were still a thing, and people loved that level of eventing. And I think a lot of what we're trying to do now is to kind of regrow that portion of modern as well. And the only way we can do that is to have events at this kind of level of competition.
Yeah, and I mean, I must be honest. I wasn't back in Magic during the time of the competitive stuff. I mean, previously the biggest sort of competitive event I went to was a PTQ that happened at the Nexus, and it was, I think, during Eldraine it was happening. I was running what is now, I suppose, the Rakdos Sax shell. Back then, and that was good fun, and I must say, for me, that first event where I went and played at that level was a hell of an experience for me, because I'd just come back into the game from years in the wilderness, and experiencing that sort of level of play and interaction and not just competitiveness but camaraderie amongst the players as well. The fact that even though you're playing against other people, we're all still mates. You know what I mean? It's not like we're out there to sort of, gut each other. And you can tell that from the fact that I can ask someone else who's going to be at this event for some major cards. Can they lend me some really powerful cards for this event to help with the deck that I want to play? And the answer is yes. People are always willing to do that. So that was really cool. And I think to bring that back, I think we then had COVID, which I think hurt everybody quite badly across the world in terms of gameplay. Overseas, Absolutely. They seem to have recovered a lot quicker than we have down here. But when we managed to pull off the National Paper Series, and we got the standard Pioneer and Modern tournament going, that was a really cool thing that happened. And I think that got a lot of people's blood going again, to sort of get this thing up and running and get the competitive scene going. And it kind of died off again a little bit. And we try to pick it up here and there ourselves. The stores have tried to do it in various ways and stuff. And I think, Francois, I just do want to say thank you for reaching out to us and bringing the idea to us so that we could actually do something about it, that we could talk to our friends at Unplug Yourself about getting behind something like this. And I can tell you guys, those of you out there who don't know this just yet, the prize support that has been thrown behind this league from Unplug Yourself is massive. I mean, we're looking at a 5-box event. There is a rumor, I'm not going to confirm it yet, but there may even be an extra box added to the final. So, it's just, there's some huge support going on for this. So, also, Francois, we banked on 18 players per event.
Yes, that was our minimum.
That's what we said. We said if we could get a minimum of 18 players per event, that would help us make the event successful. I can tell you right now that as of right now, this second, just make sure nothing's come through while I've been talking. Okay, nothing's come through while I've been talking. But we have 21 tickets sold already. There's a week to go. 21 players, that's a fairly good field for a modern event like this. So I would suggest that you go get your tickets, jump on this and take part in something really cool, because like we've said from the beginning, if it works here in Gauteng, we're going to take this national next year. And we'll have a national modern league, and we'll start a major competitive scene, and we'll get those competitive events going, get the competitive blood boiling, get people to a point where they take on these events, and all these RCQs that are coming through now from the various stores that are hosting them. Top Deck's got another 2, I think, for this year. I'm not sure who else is running them, but I know that that's happening. Again, all of these events prepare you for those events, where you go to that RCQ knowing that if you bring your A game and you play correctly, you do what you're supposed to do, hey man, you could go overseas. You could be heading for the Pro Tour. So, I mean, it's not an impossibility. It is something that any one of us could do. I mean, I look at some of the younger players that are coming through. Findlay, Francois, we mentioned earlier, you off air, we were talking, and I was talking about the silly little deck of mine, and the fact that Liam, this youngster, popped in at the modern event we held at Comic-Con last year. We were already, I think, a round or 2 into the event, and he walked in and said, listen, can I play? You know? And we were like, well, I talked to the judges, and I said, would it be okay if he came in? They said, sure, if he takes 2 match losses and then continues from there. Has he got a deck to play? Can we check? So he didn't have a deck. All I had was this silly little budget 8-rack thing. He grabbed that, and he jumped in both hands against these top-notch players. Just because he was there and he wanted to play. He ended up with 2 match wins and 1 loss out of the last 3 rounds that he played. And you know, just looking at that and then looking at where we're going with Magic, I think it's awesome that we're able to do these things. And I think it's awesome that the judges are supporting these events and coming through to make them competitive, because that's what's important. Is it's no good sitting in a store playing some games and going, judge,
yes, and then there's nobody there. Absolutely.
Okay, well, what do you think happened, opponent? Yes. You know, so I'm really excited. Modern is not a format that I am au fait with. I'm going to say that out like now. I'm going to play on Saturday. I'm going to get my ass kicked. I don't care, because it's a start. It's the beginning of something new, and I want to be there, and I want to be involved with it in any way that I can. And yes, it's our event, and that's fine, but I will pay my entry fee just like everyone else. And I will come and play. And I think anybody out there who hasn't bought their ticket yet and is a modern fan, you'll be missing out if you don't come. I really think so.
I think one of the big things as well with modern, sorry Finley, is that a lot of us have been growing modern at our local LGSs, trying to get it back, and many of us have probably spent too much money getting our modern decks like to that pristine state where it's as close as possible to what's currently being played. And you kind of want to take that deck further and further into like a more and more competitive environment, because you've spent a couple of grand on that deck to get it there. And I think for a lot of people, there is that appetite or that want to actually see how far can they take that deck. And then this is where these events really help to sort of foster that like spirit of competition, which you don't get necessarily at your local LGS.
This is true. But
part of the other, sorry,
yes,
I wanted to say,
go.
part of the other thing that's really fantastic about these events, and I've seen it in years gone by pre-COVID, and that's when you have a series event. It gives the players something to work towards and look forward to and build upon in and of themselves. They know that things are coming, and they know that there's going to be something big at the end of it too. Yeah. It always works so well, and what the Magic players want more than something to work towards. I mean, we like to try build and streamline our decks and optimize there. Some of us like to try foil things where possible. Why not apply the same principles to building up your skill as a player, playing at a competitive level?
Sure. And I just like to say that this is one of those series.
Because, absolutely.
And we're going to touch on it in a moment. Sideboarding we'll come to in a minute, Alki, because I agree with you 100%. It's very difficult in initial events, but it's vital to your gameplay, and we'll come to that in a mo. So each of the qualifier rounds, there are 7 qualifier rounds. Each of those rounds is being hosted by an LGS. As EGG, we are providing a certain amount of prize support to each of these events, each of the 7 qualifiers. It's not all the prize support, because we are reserving the really cool stuff for the final. Obviously, I mean, that's what you're playing for. You're playing to get invited to the final. Remember, I said that, invited to the final. Yeah, that's what you're playing for. And at the final, there's some big stuff. Okay, but what's also happening is that the stores are going to be contributing to the prize support as well. And just to quickly touch on that for a second, Dragontown, I've always been amazed when I walk into Dragontown and I go take a walk around the counter and stuff, and I look in through that little glass panel and I see all those fat packs, and I'm just like, these are some like I want all of them. Just because, I mean, I'm a commander player for me, first of all, so it's like somewhere in there's gonna be something I want. So I always look at that, and I always find it pretty cool that Joe tries really hard to put something special into his prize support for events. So just quickly, I just want to share with everybody a message from Joe to let you know what Dragontown is putting up for this event on Saturday. This is just from Dragontown. So this is from Joe. He says, we have 34 theme boosters. I know that's not optimal, but it's something available. Everybody gets one. Everybody gets a theme booster. Cool, right? 2 Dominaria United draft boosters per person for the event. A booster per person into the prize pool from a variety of boosters. And we all know that Joe's got mad variety of boosters. Okay? So, straight off the bat, without you're getting a theme booster, 2 Dominaria United, and like some crazy booster from Magic's past. Okay? And on top of that, whoever wins first place on the day is going to get themselves an Origins Fat Pack. That's on top of what EGG's bringing as well, which if you really want me to, I can break it down, but it's going to take a while. But let's just say everybody from 1st to 18th place gets something cool from EGG as well. Okay? And if the tickets are going as well as they are going, there is absolutely the potential that we're going to add even more prize support on the day to the event. So in terms of value for money, you cannot argue that you're not getting any. And you also can't argue the fact that if these events, singular qualifiers, are going to be this well supported by the LGSs, the final's going to rock. And you really want to be there. Because it's invite only, top 16. That's it.
These kind of events as well, it's more than just what's up for prizes and what you can win. The whole experience of them is something that a lot of the players who played before COVID, I can see they really miss it. And the players who started playing after COVID hit, I can tell you right now, it's going to be something that you'll remember for a long time. It's a really fantastic and amazing experience.
Okay, so just quickly, we've got a couple of questions here. But before we go to the sideboarding, Badger, the real prize is the friends we make along the way. Revenged would like to know, where do we submit deck lists? Yes, they are needed. You do need to submit a deck list. I believe we can. Are we going to put up that link, the Google link to deck list submissions? How do you want to do it, Findlay?
I am actually going to be playing in this one.
Oh, right.
But Brad is going to be running this one. I think you just need to coordinate with him.
Okay.
With load shedding, however, I have had a chat with him. It might be a smarter option to go with paper lists.
Okay. So the idea is, do your list, type it up, whatever it is, write it up, bring a hard copy with you. Make sure you can hand it in to the judge on the day. That's what we're going to say. I'll check with Brad, who is the judge for the day, see if there's any other way he wants to do it. But I think for now, the solid answer is type up your deck list, bring a hard copy with you, hand it into the judge on the day. But they are closed deck lists. Your opponents won't see your decks until they see your deck. Then bad handwriting can change your lists. Yes. So sideboarding. Let's just talk about sideboarding for a second. So when I came back into the world of Magic, you must understand that I was in the wilderness for a very long time. I came back into Magic and a whole bunch of things that happened. There were these things called planeswalkers.
And companions as well.
You know, what's a planeswalker? The hell? It's cool though. I like it. Let's do stuff with those. Then there was this thing that when you go play in a competition, you have to have a sideboard. It's like, sideboard? What the hell's a sideboard? No one ever told me about a sideboard. Anyway, so I learned all these things really quickly. And I can honestly tell you that if you are not sideboarding correctly, and if you are not building your sideboard with your opponents in mind, you're gonna struggle. Because I can honestly tell you that at the RCQ that we played at, unfortunately I only got to play 2 rounds before a personal matter took me away from the event. But I can tell you that in my opening game, the coolest part of my game was in match 1. I lost game 1. I sideboarded as best I could against my opponent for game 2, and I took game 2. And it was mostly because of my sideboard. And yes, there are much better players than me who know this anyway and who do this all the time. But for someone like me who comes along and goes, hey, I'm learning how to do these things and I'm seeing how effective they can be in competitive play, you really need to understand that sideboarding is 70% of your game. You've got to know how to take down your opponents, what you need to have in there to be able to counter what they're going to bring at you. And don't forget, they're going to be doing the same thing.
I actually have a bit of advice for players in terms of sideboarding here as well at a competitive level. So, as you were saying, sideboarding is an incredibly difficult thing to know how to do. And particularly in the heat of the moment, when you're sideboarding in a game between your games, knowing what to take out and what to put in can be very hard to figure out. What you are allowed to do is bring 1 or 2 pieces of paper with some notes written on. So, for example, when I play against the blue-white control deck, I want to take these things out and bring these things in.
Sure.
And then only between your games, so not during your game, but only between them when you are doing the sideboarding, you can pull out your piece of paper and go, right, what was my plan for when I play against this type of deck? And that, it helps take away a lot of the stress and anxiety, particularly if you might be borrowing a deck from a friend or something like that. It takes away so much of that stress and anxiety in between. And when you sort of play your first card on turn 1 of game 2, your opponent plays something and you go, darn, I forgot about that. You land up avoiding those sorts of situations.
Also, it helps to calm the nerves.
Absolutely.
Because don't get me wrong. Listen, you might think you're going to go play some Magic and how we're going to go play Magic. It's tense, man. It's tense.
And just for the record, I've been playing the one deck I've been playing recently. I've been playing it for over a year now, and I still take a sideboard guide with me.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I have a whole binder of sideboard lists because I'm always moving between 4 or 5 decks at this stage, and even the ones that I know best, I would still peruse that list. Absolutely. It also kind of helps you not to get up in your own head while sideboarding and getting ready for the next round, because sometimes you made a bad mistake on game 1 and you kind of want to think more about that than trying to figure out your sideboard before going into the right headspace for the next game. So definitely worth it to get those sideboard lists sorted.
Sorry, I'm just checking one thing. Revenge says the events Francois has been organizing at the Geek Home also teach you a few things for this league. So there you go. There's some things going on there as well. We got something else. So we got this competitive thing happening on the 29th. You know, that's pretty cool. But we've also got this other little thing that Top Deck and Sad Robot and EGG have put together that we're running 3 of, which is why it's called a triad. And it's the Pauper events that we're running at the 3 major fairs that are happening this year. The next one is happening on the 3rd of June. It's at the Medieval Fair, which will be at Greensleeves in Krugersdorp, which is just the most amazingly cool venue. And one of our patrons, you'll find him here in chat, unless he's run away and had to go to work early in the morning, wherever the hell he is, Elki SA, Ansel, has put up 2 tickets for the Pauper Triad on the 3rd of June as a giveaway. So, I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to do a giveaway right now on stream. But I am going to put a proviso on it that says, don't enter if you ain't coming. Yeah? All right? This is from Ansel, one of our patrons. He's one of our mythic patrons. He's an awesome dude, and this is not the first time he's put tickets up for grabs. So it's really, really cool of him to do this. So please don't enter if you're not coming. Please keep in mind, though, that your ticket for the Triad, the Pauper event, the MTG event, does not include your ticket into the fair. Unfortunately, we're still trying to work around that and make that go away for the last one. But for now, unfortunately, you'll have to. But I mean, they're not that expensive. They're really not expensive, and you can carpool with people to Green Sleeves and then throw mugs around and call wench and all that kind of stuff, and no one can even shout at you for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in. As soon as I find my mouse, we're going to go find a giveaway. And we're going to say one giveaway to Pauper Triad 2. We're going to do one at a time. So this is the first one. If you want to play in the Pauper event, I must tell you, these Pauper events have been super fun, hey? They've been so much fun. People have had such a good time playing these things. Even I got to learn some really... Hey, I told you, I'm a Commander player. I've never made infinite nothing in Commander, okay? Infinite nada. That should be my combo. Infinite nothing, right? But I have made infinite red mana and infinite damage in Pauper. Many times. It is really fun. But anyway, so here we go. The giveaway is open. You know what to do. It'll tell you what to do. Don't enter if you're not coming. Okay? There we go. Now, where were we? Back here. There we go. First thing Crispy's going to do is call someone a wench and throw a beer like Thor. Another! Damn right. Oh, I see a legendary Liliana has entered into our raffle. But while the raffle's going on, guys, these kind of events are necessary for the health of our community, to be perfectly honest. I think that without the competitiveness of these kinds of events, people might start looking at Magic as like why do I go play Magic? And I can tell this from another point of view. Pokemon has just started in-store competitive play again. And I was chatting to one of the LGS owners from the weekend who held their first Pokemon Championship event, where you are in the league, you're winning points, those points count towards championship points, where you can go do some serious. And to tell you what, the Pokemon community is alive and well because of it. And we need to follow suit. We got to bring the competitive back.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people have sort of forgotten where we were with Magic. I mean, thinking about all those years ago, places like Musica and Top CD were stocking Magic. People were playing events even at shops like that. You would have Icon, Upcon, all those sorts of bigger competitive events throughout the year. Unfortunately, a lot of those things do not exist anymore. And exactly, this is a small stepping stone to get back into something like that again, where we have just 50, 60 people who are going to rock up for a competitive event because this is what they want to do and going at it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, I will give you some news though, for those of you who don't know. Icon is coming back.
Awesome.
Icon will be back very soon. We have this on good authority. And there will be Magic at Icon. But I remember the last Icon I went to, which was at Caesar's Palace. And the turnout was incredible. That whole downstairs hall was full of people. Full of cardboard crackheads. It was awesome. You know? So, I mean, yes, we've had the hiccups, but I think it's time to get over that. Get over yourself, and let's start playing some proper Magic again. Because although I was out for a long time, when I came back and I felt that buzz at the PTQ, I was hooked, man. I want more. I want more. My only problem in the last little while with events is that I've had to be doing them for the stream and stuff, and so we have all these events, and I sit there going, but not this time.
Yes.
This time I'm gonna play. So now how long did I give this raffle? It's too long. There's like too many. There's like 2 people in here. Banana and ice cream. What are we talking about? Bigger Clausen with syrup? No, yuck. I mean, seriously. People, let's keep it clean. It's a family show. Banana and ice cream, really. Sheesh. So let's talk one last thing real quick before we do the finals and wrap this all up. Francois,
Yeah.
metagame. What are we
boy.
looking to beat on Saturday?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, we have this Murktide plague. Everybody who loves Blue-Red is just going to play Murktide. So, I mean, expect at least a couple people on Murktide. And I feel like creativity has been picking up as well. It did a bit of a splash in Pioneer, but it has had presence in Modern for a good while now, and definitely can expect it. Hammer, we haven't seen that much Hammer, even with the last RCQ. So I'm not expecting as much Hammer. Footfalls or crashing footfalls is always also always a favorite. People love making those big beefy rhinos and messing you up. So I would definitely expect that. And then of course, as you mentioned earlier when we were talking about scam, people love to scam each other with black red scam. So that's also a big crowd favorite. And I think we'll definitely be seeing some of the other staples like Burn and Green Tron, maybe 1 or 2 mil. Affinity is also, I think, come to be a very popular, more budget-friendly, competitive option for a lot of people.
Sure.
So I definitely think we can expect to see that. I'm hoping that we'll see some of the more eccentric decks, like maybe a Belcher or a bit of Amulet Titan, or maybe a bit of like Domain Zoo, or even a couple of Yawgmoths. Because Modern is rich. There's a lot of really good decks right now.
It's a greedy 777 says Merfolk is tier 1 Modern.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Elkie was asking about Amulet, so glad you got that in there.
I'm very sure we're going to see something like Yawgmoth. It's been picking up quite a bit in the local community that I've seen, and it's a very powerful list.
Okay.
We go through these waves at Geeko where nobody would be playing Yawgmoth, and then 3 people will pitch out of 12 people with Yawgmoth, and it's like, it's just a Yawgmoth day, guys. Just let's do this.
Nothing. There was something you said that I wanted to pick up on. It'll come to me. Give me a moment. Give the brain a moment. No, the brain's forget about it. Okay, so the raffle stopped. We're going to give away a ticket in a minute. When you look at the meta, obviously there's an international meta where we're talking pro tour guys that play at a particular level, and these are the decks they play. In terms of the decks that you've seen and that we've got here and the way they're played, are we like far behind? I don't think we are.
I mean, just to put it into perspective, right? We have you know Rashawn quite well. Rashawn has more than once like played at that level and even won some of these events on the international level. We have people of that capacity and capability even in our Modern. I mean, and we do have a couple of people who would fly out for those events. So maybe not the majority of people who are playing Modern right now, but we definitely have a few who can definitely play with the best.
Okay.
And have.
Yeah, no, that's what I feel. I mean, we've got players. I mean, like, okay, so that's the thing. So I mean, we've got players like Rashawn. We've got players like Kieran Chetty. We've got players like Richard Solden, who brought Hammer Time to the last year's RCQ and took it all the way.
Yes.
You know, and that was what I wanted to ask you. Was that you said that Hammer Time, you hadn't seen a lot of Hammer Time. Is Hammer Time, is there a demise to Hammer Time, or do you think it's just sort of bubbling under and will come back?
Oh no. Okay, so Hammer Time is really good, and I'm going to be playing Hammer Time on Saturday. So I'm just putting that out there. Hammer Time has been doing so well with a lot of events. It's good. It's good, and they got such a nice toy from the new set. That Surge of Salvation has been helping them a lot.
Surge of Salvation is a ridiculously good card.
Yeah.
Blacksmith Skills taking a backseat, and Surge of Salvation is just getting ahead now. And the thing is it's helping some of their worst matchups, like Mull. It's even giving them extra percentage points against Rakdos mid-range, and it's just helping them throughout to be able to combo off without having to worry about interaction.
Surge of Salvation.
Hammer's at a really good place. But I mean, the thing is, like, to as you mentioned with Richard, he practiced that deck like crazy. He knows the small little intricacies about combat steps, and that deck will punish you if you get some of those small things wrong. So I just haven't seen that much Hammer Time, but there are a couple of people who can definitely play and swing Hammer, and they will mess you up.
Yeah. No, I'm sure they will.
I've seen exactly the same. Hammer Time in particular is an incredibly nuanced and difficult deck to play. And if you look in the international meta, it holds a very dominant percentage. But again, locally here, we don't tend to see it as much. Why? I'm not actually so sure. But I do foresee us seeing at least a few, well, at least one on Saturday.
At least one. Only one. There will be one. Okay, that'll be fine. Okay, so who won our giveaway? We have a new follower. We have Sicko Pyro is a new follower. You get an Evo. I don't know why you get an Evo. I don't know why. I don't know why it's an Evo. I didn't set it to be an Evo, but whenever we get a new follower,
Evo might be worth more than a
Evo
ticket one of
pops
these
up and,
days.
like, dances, and I haven't got the heart to change it because it's actually really cute. So I'm just gonna you get an Evo, Sicko Pyro. Thanks for the follow, pal. Let's see who won. Okay, so we had a whole 2 entries for the pauper thing. So here's my thinking, Judge. We have 2 pauper tickets to give away.
Well, I
we
think
not
that you
just-
need to randomly give them to each of the participants.
So randomly give it to each of the 2 entries.
Look, sometimes you have to randomize 2 cards on the bottom of your library, or even 1.
This is true.
I still expect a riffle shuffle.
Sad endurance.
So no, I can't. That's it. We're going to use the plane chase die. And if it's either plane chase or chaos, the first ticket will go to Legendary Liliana. If it is a blank, then the first ticket will go to Greedy 777. Yes? Here I am rolling the die. It is a blank. Therefore, Greedy 777, you have won yourself a ticket to the Pauper Triad 2. And Legendary Liliana, you have won yourself a ticket to the Triad 2 on the 3rd of June. Congratulations, both of you. Now I better write that down before I forget. Because, I have a memory like a sieve. There used to be elephants in there, but they broke everything. So, if you could both just, whisper in chat to me to make sure that I have your details and your real names, because sometimes it's hard to remember whose everybody is when it comes to all these other things, right? I mean, it's just one of those things. A huge thank you to our patron Ansel for those 2 tickets that we've just given away. It's really awesome of you to buy those and then put them up for peoples. Greedy 77 says, thank you. I'm so broke after foiling my pauper deck. Well, now you got a ticket to go play it. That's awesome. Flip a coin. What if 1 wins 2? Burn. That would have been something, right? I'm glad we used the die. What if 1 wins both? What if I'd rolled wrong both times? No, that would have been bad. Anyway, I can tell you though, just about this plane chase thing, right? So just going back to the Commander thing, I'm going to be putting up last week's Commander video on YouTube tomorrow. I think it's going up on YouTube. And if you haven't seen people squirm under plane chase before, you should really watch the episode. Because we used, thanks to Unplug Yourself, we got the Commander product, and we got all the new Commander decks from March of the Machine, and each of them comes with 10 plane chase cards and a lot of new plane chase cards as well. And for some people on the pod, it was the first time they'd ever seen plane chase because it's been so long since we've had plane chase. And the amount of chaos it caused for people was just ridiculous. We were all like, wait now, if we do what? Planes walk from this plane to where and chaos? What? So yeah, no, it's good fun. You should check it out. It's gonna be a cool video. What else? Elkie, you awesome, and a friend too, says Bigger Clausen. All we need now is for Elkie to make proper friends with Posty, whom he met at a pre-release, and bring him out here to come play some Magic with us. That would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. We were not cruel to the Patreon. Okay, I wasn't. Maybe I was. I was grumpy, but that's okay. I'm always grumpy when I play Commander. Anyway, last thoughts, guys, about trying to get... I don't know if we actually need to say anything more about getting people to come to the event on Saturday, because if you haven't figured out that it's going to be awesome yet, I don't know what else we can tell you.
I do have a little thing I'd like to just put out there for any people who either are a little bit newer to the game or this might be one of their first competitive events. Please remember, the judges are there to help you and make sure that things go smoothly. And if you ever have any question, whether it's about something going on in the game or just something about the facilities even, or it might be that you something's making you not feel so comfortable about how somebody's acting, please do call a judge. They are there to make sure that everyone feels welcome, everyone feels happy, and in addition to that, they're also there to make sure that you can get your rules questions answered before you make the play, as opposed to finding out after you've made done something that you might not have wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on this point, and this is also why I wanted to bring the judges in. Some people have this idea that judges in Magic are like policemen, and that's why they're there. And that's definitely not the role or the hat that they have on most of the time while facilitating and helping us with events. For some people, they think that when somebody calls a judge, oh, it's going to be to invoke a penalty or something. But often cases, it's to get clarity about the game with how everything happened and how everything should happen. And a lot of this is also to foster that right sportsmanship, to know that, okay, I just want to get the right information before I make my play, not to try and do something wrong or to keep something from my opponent. It's just actually to get the judge there to help me understand what I can do under these circumstances before giving away certain information about my own hand, about the state of the game. So it's a really, really important thing to feel comfortable approaching judges, and that's exactly why they're there foremost, to help with any questions that you may have. Of course, I can't tell you exactly what your opponent's doing, but as far as possible, they'll try and help you.
The idea is, sorry, just to put it, the idea is that before you make any play, the reason why you want to have a judge there is such that you have an understanding of what the resulting effect is going to be. You may well know your own cards, but you don't necessarily know your opponent's and how yours interact with theirs.
Sure.
In order for there to be an actual concept of strategy, you can only make a strategic decision if you understand what that decision will cause.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just throwing darts at random at a dartboard. So, yeah, judges are literally there to help give you the information so you can make the strategic decisions. They can't advise you on strategic decisions, of course, but they can give you the necessary knowledge to make those choices.
Also, it's not just about the rulings, etc., where you can call a judge. At the RCQ, we had a situation in the game that I was playing where my opponent seemed to have miscounted cards in his deck. And he wasn't sure. He kept recounting in his shuffle. He kept recounting and coming up with, I don't know how he did it, but he came up with about 3 different totals for how many cards he had in his deck. And we called the judge over. We asked Findlay to come over and say, listen, don't know what's going on here, but there seems to be some kind of wackiness with the deck. Turns out he hadn't done anything wrong, and he was just counting wrong, and he was 100% correct. But the point is that even that situation, the judge is there to help. He's not there to come and, you're wasting my time counting cards. He's there to make sure that everything is correct and everything is the way it should be. Or she's there, because I see Foxglove is cracking her knuckles in chat and scared. But anyway. By the way, she had the coolest deck on Command I think 2 weeks ago. It's up on YouTube now. You should check it out. She foiled out a flower power deck with Una, the Queen of the Fae, as her commander, and just it's the prettiest deck you've seen in a long time. You should go check it out. But guys, I want to thank you for coming on the show, and I want to thank you for your insights and your frankness about stuff, because I think that's very important for people to understand. We're not here to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. The judges are not here to be the evil enemy. They are here to help. The reason why we have these particular events at this level of competition is to improve the game we play and the way we play it and how we play it. Okay? So, come on down to Dragon Town. I made a rap. On the 29th. And take part in the first ever qualifier for the first ever easy gaming group, Gauteng Modern League, the Praetor of Modern. That was his idea. That was his name. So that's cool. So if you haven't got your ticket yet, get your ticket, come and play. We've even got a judge coming to play. So anybody else? So listen, wait, Greedy 777. I know who you are, but I can't remember the real life name. So please, just WhatsApp me. I'll send you a WhatsApp. I see it. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm old, okay? I'm going to just put it down to age. That's all there is to it, really. But to the head of Findlay and to the upper torso of Francois, thanks, guys, for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute blast chatting through all these things with you. If there's anyone out there who's watching, there is a judges WhatsApp group, an Ask the Judges WhatsApp group. Get yourself onto the group. If you aren't in the group, but you know someone who is, ask them to get you the link or whatever the case may be. Get yourself into that judges group. If you've got any questions about any of the potential interactions you might have this weekend, put them in there. The judges will answer. You will get the information that you need, as Findlay said, to make the right strategic decisions. So to get yourself into that WhatsApp group, make sure that I need that link, please. Someone important. Can I chuck it in the EGG group? Yes, I can do that. I think I can.
You can create a group invite link, and then people can ask or
I'll
request
do
to
that.
join.
That's fine. So I'll put it in the group. I'll put it in all the groups that I'm in, and then everybody can just jump in there and harass Findlay and Cora and Brad and all the other judges, and I can just quietly go to bed and put my old head down. Anyway, thanks everybody. Chat, thank you so much for joining us. It's always amazing to have you here and participating in our discussions. The questions are amazing. It's awesome to be able to have that feedback from you immediately. Get those questions so that we can answer them when we have the judges around and people who have the knowledge. And do not make a dad joke, Klassen. I will kick you. Ban hammer. Okay. Anyway, there we go. There's the link for the entire community, which includes the judge group. Thank you, Pepper Dew, who is the first time chatter. Not this chat, but the first chat that Pepper Dew did. They were a first time chatter. So thank you for that. Again, thanks to all of you. Thanks to you two gents. Really appreciate you coming through. And I cannot wait for Saturday. We're going to spam socials this week, reminding everybody about the event, that there are still tickets available. So just be prepared. But get your decks ready. I'm playing. You've got at least one win right here. Come play. Anyway, I don't know if you guys want to give a shout out to anybody or say goodnight to anybody. Either of you, go for it. I don't mind.
I'd like to say thanks to you as well for inviting me on. I'm really happy to be able to help give people an idea of what to expect on Saturday. And I think it's going to be a truly phenomenal event. And Francois, thank you as well for actually getting a lot of this organized. I don't think these would have been able to happen if you didn't get involved.
Yeah, if you hadn't brought it to my attention, nothing would have happened.
Definitely, but thank you so much. I mean, from your side as well, like we needed the support from Egg, we needed you as the judges to be involved as well. And I think just the fact that we've been able to come together and actually get this off the ground has been amazing. And I'm really looking forward to Saturday.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely.
Me too. But until then, stay healthy, stay safe. Peace and love, everybody. We'll see you on the battlefield. Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.